Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to help you get truly well-informed, fast. We take all this complex information, articles, reports, you name it, break it down, and put it back together so you really get what's going on.
That's the idea.
And today, our mission is to unpack some really critical global events. We're looking at a diverse set of sources, trying to pull out not just the facts, but maybe some surprising connections, the stuff that really matters.
Exactly. And when you look at these sources together, you immediately see this complex web. It's all interconnected.
Right.
We've got ongoing conflicts. We have this very delicate, sometimes dangerous geopolitical talk, and also some really pressing humanitarian crises.
Yeah.
The goal is really to help you connect those dots, understand the why.
Okay, so let's dive in. Our sources immediately, they throw us into the Ukraine conflict. The last 24 hours sound like they've been particularly intense with these reciprocal attacks. Paints a pretty stark picture.
It really does. If we look first at the Russian attacks on Ukraine, well, regional authorities are reporting at least 7 civilians dead, 13 injured.
Oh.
And Ukraine's Air Force it gave some details. Russia apparently launched a Kinzhal missile. That's the hypersonic one. Very fast, hard to stop, plus 162 Shahed drones.
Wow, 162.
Yeah, those are the relatively cheaper explosive drones they often use in swarms. Launched from Milarovo, Kursk, Bryansk, Oryol, Crimea, all over.
And the interception.
Well, this is where it gets kind of fascinating, and it's a key point in these sources. Ukraine's defenses managed to intercept 161 out of those 162 drones.
161 out of 162. That's incredible.
It is. The sources describe it as an efficiency rate even higher than Israel's Iron Dome system.
Which is famous for being effective, so almost perfect defense, it sounds like. But the sources also talk about significant impacts on the ground. How does that work?
Right. Well, it tells you that even near-perfect defense can struggle against just sheer volume. Debris still came down. It fell in 9 different places between Kiev and Odessa, and it caused damage.
The debris itself.
Exactly. And it wasn't just the drones. On the ground, the sources say Russian forces launched 405 attacks in Zaporizhia, just in 10 localities there.
Right.
3 people died in Stepano-Risk.
405 attacks.
Yeah. And Kherson, 33 localities hit, 2 civilians killed, 5 injured. Then in Donetsk, 1 death in Drobachev, another in Kostiantynivka, 3 more injured across Rubizhne, Pokrovsk, and Lyman.
Just keeps adding up.
It does. And Dnipropetrovsk, too, 3 injured in the Nikopol district. That was from FPZ drones. Those are the modified racing drones used for precision strikes and also heavy artillery. The intensity is just staggering.
It really is. But as you said, reciprocal attacks. Our sources show Ukraine wasn't just defending, they were hitting back into Russian territory.
That's right. They launched their own attacks. There's a drone attack on the Volgograd region in Russia. 1 drone apparently hit a power line, caused a fire at a railway station.
Okay.
Another drone, unexploded this time, fell on railway tracks near Arched Station. Russia's state agency TSS reported that delayed several local trains.
Disruptions then.
Yeah, Volgograd's airport had to suspend flights for several hours, too. Only got going again around 3 a.m. Greenwich time, according to Rosaviatsia.
So definitely having an impact. How did Russia respond to that?
Well, the Russian Defense Ministry claimed they destroyed 61 Ukrainian drones in total, including 6 over Volgograd. The regional governor there called it a massive attack aimed at energy and transport infrastructure.
Okay.
But maybe the most significant claim, certainly the most pointed one, came from Ukraine's security service, the SBU.
Right. What did they say?
They claimed a special operation hit Russian military airfield down in Saki in occupied Crimea. They say 5 Russian fighter jets were hit, 1 totally destroyed.
5 jets. That's substantial.
Very. And an aviation weapons depot supposedly hit, too. The SBU estimated the losses in the tens of millions of dollars.
And they put out a statement.
They did. It concluded that this operation was, and I'm quoting loosely here, another step to weaken Russia's capacity for war, and a warning that occupants should remember they will never feel safe on our land. Pretty direct message.
Incredibly direct. Okay, so we have these intense tactical battles, air and ground, but our sources also highlight another front, don't they? This very sensitive area of diplomatic language, especially around nuclear issues.
Yes, absolutely.
We've touched on this before, the Trump-Medvedev exchanges, Trump's comments about subs near the Black Sea. It's always tense.
It is. And the real insight here, I think, from the sources isn't just the obvious danger of nuclear talk. It's how the Kremlin, specifically, seems to view even the perception of readiness.
How so?
They see it, or at least Peskov frames it, as potentially leading towards a point of no return.
Yeah.
It really underscores how critical every word, every nuance of tone is in this kind of high-stakes diplomacy.
So the Kremlin did respond publicly.
Yes, through spokesman Dmitry Peskov. His first reaction seemed designed to kind of avoid escalating things directly with Trump.
What did he say?
He basically said Russia doesn't want to get into polemics and, the readiness of U.S. nuclear submarines isn't exactly breaking news, kind of downplaying the novelty.
Okay, standard diplomatic deflection, maybe.
To an extent. But the really notable part, the part our sources emphasize, was his explicit warning about using nuclear rhetoric at all.
Ah, okay.
He stressed that Russia takes nonproliferation very seriously and that everyone involved needs to be very, very careful discussing it. And then he used that phrase, point of no return.
What did he mean by that, do you think?
He implied that if fear and insecurity build up, if one side starts genuinely believing the other side might be ready to use nuclear weapons, well, that cycle could lead to catastrophe. For everyone, for the planet. It wasn't just a generic warning. It felt like an insight into their fear of escalatory feedback loops driven by careless talk or misinterpretation.
A stark warning, then, embedded in that response.
Okay.
And while we're grappling with these geopolitical tensions and military actions, our sources pull us towards something even more immediate and devastating, a humanitarian crisis in Sudan.
Yes, a shift to Africa, specifically El Fasher, the capital of North Darfur. It's the last major stronghold the Sudanese army controls in that whole region.
And it's become the focal point of the fighting.
Tragically, yes. It's the epicenter of the war between the Sudanese army and the Rapid Support Forces, the RSF.
The RSF, those are the paramilitary group with roots in the Janjaweed militias, right? The ones accused of atrocities back in the early 2000s.
That's them. And unfortunately, we're seeing echoes of that terrible history now. The fighting in El Fasher is relentless.
What are the conditions like for people trapped there? The sources paint a grim picture.
It's truly devastating. Constant bombardment from RSF drones and artillery, day and night. Sources say electricity is completely gone. Bakeries can't operate. Medical supplies, almost non-existent.
Oh, my goodness.
One resident reported, just heartbreakingly, that the number of people dying each day is increasing, and the cemeteries are literally expanding. It's hard to wrap your head around.
And it's not just the direct violence, is it? The sources talk about famine being used as a weapon.
Yes, tragically it seems so. Children, adults, severely malnourished. One doctor, speaking anonymously, told a reporter he hadn't eaten that day himself.
Unbelievable.
The RSF has reportedly blocked humanitarian aid convoys, even attacked them. Any food that does get smuggled in sells for more than 5 times the normal price.
So people can't afford it even if it's there.
Exactly. It's gotten so bad residents are reportedly eating hay. And something called ambus, basically animal feed made from peanut husks. And even that is running out now. The desperation is just profound.
And escape? Is that even possible?
People are trying to get to a town called Tawila, about 60 kilometers west. But the journey itself is incredibly dangerous.
How so?
Sources report RSF fighters attacking civilians as they flee. Reuters spoke to a 19-year-old, Inanna Abidallah. She said she was attacked twice on the way. They took phones, money, even the donkeys they were using.
Terrible.
And worse, she said she saw people killed and girls being kidnapped during the escape attempts. A human rights group, Emerging Lawyers, reported at least 14 people killed and dozens injured just last Monday, trying to flee El Fasher. It's harrowing.
So even if they make it out of El Fasher, the danger isn't over. And what about Tawila itself? What awaits them there?
Well, even reaching Tawila doesn't end the hardship. Conditions there are described as dramatic. There are over 500,000 displaced people crammed into this town now. Most arrived since April when the RSF really tightened the siege on El Fasher.
500,000 people?
Yeah, and Tawila just doesn't have the infrastructure. Humanitarian groups are stretched to their absolute limit. International aid has dropped off. People are getting only tiny, inconsistent amounts of grain like sorghum or rice. It's nowhere near enough.
And on top of starvation and displacement, there's disease now, too.
Yes. That's another layer of this crisis, our sources reveal. A cholera outbreak. Medicines Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders, they've treated 2,500 cases just since mid-June.
2,500 cases? How many deaths?
52 people have died from cholera there, tragically. Vaccines could help stop the spread, but now the rainy season has started, and that's delaying deliveries.
It's just one thing after another.
It is. And the basics aren't there. The Norwegian Refugee Council found only about 10% of people in Tawila have reliable access to water. Even fewer have latrines. Most families are surviving on just one meal a day, if they're lucky.
Did anyone try to get a pause in the fighting for aid?
The UN asked for a humanitarian pause in El Fasher last month, specifically because of the rains starting. But the sources say the RSF rejected the request.
Rejected it.
Flat out. And the fighting continues to spread, now reportedly reaching Kordofan state, which borders Darfur, and all the while, international mediation efforts. They seem to be making no real headway. The international community appears stuck, struggling to find a path forward.
So, bringing this all together, what does this mean for you, trying to make sense of these global events? We've covered a huge range today: tactical drone warfare, these high-stakes diplomatic signals, and then this absolutely devastating human cost in Sudan.
Yeah, and I think across all these different sources, whether they're talking about Ukraine or Sudan or nuclear rhetoric, there's this kind of implicit, urgent cry for, well, for justice, for accountability. You see patterns of suffering, disregard for civilian life, the weaponization of basic needs like food.
It's stark when you lay it out like that.
It really is.
So here's something to think about. Our sources clearly show this hope for justice, this need for accountability. But we also see the grim reality: humanitarian aid being actively blocked, international mediation stalling. So what does it actually take in conflicts like these for international law and just basic human dignity to mean something, to actually prevail on the ground? It's a tough question, but one worth mulling over.